Well, a very good morning, everybody, for Sunday, the 11th of October, 2020. So looking at what we got, well, that line of showers that we got round last night has cleared off to the east. There is a little bit of instability about that may cause some showers out towards the far west and far east of the country today. But we're more under the influence of a high pressure out over the Azores, which is just throwing a bit of slacker winds over us and a bit of increased pressure than we've seen in recent weeks, at least, because I know the last couple of weekends we've been either having storms or pressure under 1,000 millibars. But this has led to the wind dropping a little bit, but it's still from a bit of an awkward direction for us. 340, 350 at about 15 knots at flying height. On the ground, probably around about 10 knots. That's generally uniform across most of the country. And looking at the public forecast, you can see that there on the for the ground level. Reasonable sort of day, no particular risk of showers like yesterday in our area, and just a moderate northwesterly wind. That rain that I was talking about, you can just sort of see some of it just tracking down the western coast of Wales and into the West Country and into Cornwall, a little bit into East Anglia as well. But we're in a fairly clear area, and the satellite picture shows that as well. Just some residual moisture just burning off over sort of Birmingham and just the south of the Midlands. And we might just have a little bit over us to start with, but yeah, quickly clearing back, as you can see, and leaving a reasonably nice picture. With there being no fronts about, you can see there's nothing in particular in the way of high cover, maybe isolated patches, more out to the west where there is some more frontal activity. Public forecast was showing temperature about 12, and broadly that's very similar to what we're seeing here. Maybe a touch of a degree higher if the sun stays around a bit longer. I imagine there will be a little bit more cloud in the afternoon, which may give us knock a degree or so off. And dew points sort of down into sort of the mid-single figures in the afternoon. Currently at Lasham, we have a temperature of 9 and a bit, and dew point just over 7. And as we look outside, nice clear morning, just a bit of low-level stratus, maybe forming into cumulus out to the south there, but very nice indeed compared to some of the weather that we've had in recent weeks. Prediction for cross country, well, I'm pleased to say we do have a little bit left in the season yet. I've seen some of you have been rigging. Probably good for task out towards the west, maybe a lap of the Club 100 or something like that, maybe even a little bit further for those of you who are a little bit more brave at this time of year. The fields will be soggy though, because certainly our one is. Not really much going on by 11 o'clock, but by sort of lunchtime, probably seeing sort of cloud-based around here, blue to shallow Q, maybe a little bit better, around about 3,500 feet. And that gets better in the afternoon, where it sort of peaks at 3,500 feet out towards the west and to the north. Maybe just actually a little bit higher out towards Oxford, but no, reasonable cumulus across our area. And cloud distribution, maybe at times a little bit too much cloud, and I know the Larkhill sounding was showing that, but yeah, still for this time of year, reasonable. Doesn't go on particularly late at this time of year, no, though now obviously the sun goes down quite early. By 4 o'clock, as you can see, everything is starting to turn off, so probably wanting to get back here not much after 3. Site forecast showing sort of weak thermals, sort of 2 to 3 knots, up to about 3 and a bit above Lasham. And yeah, that risk of just a little bit of spread out, but reasonable for a little while. And top temperature here of about 13 and a bit. This is showing it going northeasterly. It's not. It does seem to me that Top Meteo does have an issue with predicting wind directions. But with everything we've got here, it is showing westerly drift, at least at height, to northwesterly. And just one sounding from RASP. This is Fairford at the peak of the day, just before it shuts down at 3 o'clock. Cumulus to about 3,500 feet. Larkhill showing a little bit more spread out. But yeah. Airspace-wise, nothing particularly actually that's affecting us. All of these are equestrian events. I need to ask Alan Sparrow about if we can remove equestrian events from the database, because it's not actually relevant to gliding, it's relevant to military helicopters. Intense gliding still at middle wallop, if their NOTAM goes on forever. But usual Solent Farnborough, nothing different notified for Boscombe. Chiltern Park, I imagine, is parachuting today. I haven't been told otherwise. I know they were parachuting yesterday. And yeah, there's probably be a little bit of paragliding activity, but I know their fields could be getting wet. Not quite enough wind for the South Downs, though I imagine if people are going that way, there might be some ridge-induced thermals, which would be nice. But operationally, we'll be on 2.7 today. Looking at how we're going to set up, the grass is quite wet across a large amount of the airfield, and that means we do need to start switching to winter operations. We are still able to use the full run of the airfield, but please can I ask that the launch point has been positioned to allow winching on the north side today. So winching off here, air towing off the south side. That's just because we've got a northerly drift and need to keep cables and gliders on the runway. So don't be surprised if it all looks a little bit sort of the wrong way around. That is just how we operate in the winter, or winter season as we're now going into. The grass areas are landable, but please do not jam on the wheel brake too much, because you'll otherwise cause some ruts. Duck pilots just do whatever. If it is clear on the south side, then use that. But yes, everybody who's wanted to launch today off the runway and winching off the north side. Other than that, no jet movements today because they're closed on a Sunday. Haven't been asked about any aircraft parking, so that's good as well. So yeah, enjoy today. One of the last reasonable soaring days that we're going to get. And if I don't see you then, I'll see you a bit more in the week. I know that Monday and Tuesday ain't looking good. Bye for now.